I really rock with my therapist. Learning truths and finding tools I never knew how to use is cool, but really what's apparent is, more often than not, I don't have a clue what to do, and so easily I'm led askew by my own arrogance. You see, I carry pain, a self-directed hate enough to justify, persuade enough to trust the lies I tell myself, though I realize a way to change is what we must devise. So in order to move this weight, she told me, here, why don't we do this exercise? So I obliged. She said, inside of you there are two wolves. I'm playing. No, she said, inside of you there are three souls. Potentially and independently, maybe each pulls you from your center, each influencing, adding pressure until self-ruin becomes offender and leaves you lost, dismembered. My hands, they trembled and said, okay, so what's this exercise? She said, become self-actualized, write about who you ought to be, and who you are idealized. Who I am idealized. Like who I am perfectly? I said we could try, but to be honest though, it sounds like busy work to me, but it can't hurt to see. So I lifted up a pen that felt as heavy as the world to breathe a word, a part, a verse of me onto an ivory sheet. So who is me? Who am I? Behind facades and warm disguise, I think I'm just a guy who tries and fails, not all the time, but well, if you mind, you'll excavate and find a line of people whose expectations were higher than what I could provide. People who I disappointed, hopes I left disjointed, prayers that even though they were sent up anointed, came back down all but pointless. I mean, look what happened to us. My lack of enough left you asking for trust. Far from passion and love, I left us ravaged and stuck, wrapped in disgust. All you could do was be like a late night store clerk, hurry to bag this shit up. But it's not all bad. I mean, I remember when I lost dad, a lot of people had to rely on me. Maybe that's why I had to cry off screen. But through it all, I know that God got me. Maybe that's why I don't think too much about who I ought to be. I mean, who even is that? I guess my mom would prefer more letters after my name, or maybe just in cursive on a big plaque, but that's not where my gift's at, so I don't even get mad that it might take her a couple more years to get that. Maybe I should be more patient. I ought to be more attentive to the journey and not so focused on the destination. I ought to be more present and not trapped in my mind debating about what choice to make instead of committing and praying. I ought to not be such a coward. Maybe I ought to have seen my weaknesses and committed to holding this down, but it doesn't even matter because look where we are now. I don't have you around. I'm out here talking to 50-year-old Canadian ladies about what's making me frown. I didn't even know this was about you until I started jotting it down. Damn, this therapist is good. I'd pay for a longer session, but she charged by the hour. The ideal me, he would have more money. The ideal me would be able to see shit coming, and when anxiety comes in to interrupt love's win, the ideal me wouldn't take off running. The ideal me would be half of us. 6'3" in a fantasy that looks almost exactly like what was, but with enough wisdom to bring out music with no sound, love that bleeds out, trust that tests time, pride that stands out, hope that holds on, peace that we found. Hey, should I make dinner? No, it's me now. Hope with no hesitation, arms that wrap around, eyes that love yours, and words with no doubts. The ideal version of myself has you in his view. I ought to align what's in my mind. I hope that it could one day be true because the actual version of myself is still in love with you. What I've learned in lessons outweigh what is now depressing. Maybe one day all three versions of myself will unite to renew a lost connection. But until that time, I have to find enough money for one more session. Thank you.